The other thing I wanted to ask about was the public speaking. So seems like that's something you've been doing throughout school, and I can tell you're a good speaker, even just speaking with you now. Where did that come from? When did that start for you?
I suppose I wouldn't consider myself like an excellent public speaker. I am, yeah, because I'm slightly introverted. It's not something I'm huge on, but I do, if I'm interested in something, I will speak on it. It all started when I did mock trial in year 11. Because I wanted to pursue law. I was really interested in kind of trying to get a bit of practical experience in what it might be like to do in person, litigation, obviously with two sides. And I did enjoy that. Unfortunately, that was cancelled because of COVID-19. So I only did a few rounds, but I really enjoyed kind of getting into the debate and kind of working with a team of people and coming up with these arguments and getting to kind of, express these in kind of a mock courtroom setting. But then I also did Model United Nations for a little bit as well. And that was also really rewarding because I'm really interested in international relations and social justice. It was kind of exciting again to do the research, come up with my arguments, and then kind of share that, with a group of people in a kind of public forum. But yeah, I think in terms of the public speaking, it all really started kind of from like many people, I'm assuming, like a mock trial Model UN kind of experience in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And before that, before year 11, there was nothing in particular.
I actually didn't do any public speaking before then. Yeah. No public speaking for me. I've never actually debated before. So
Wow, that's impressive. But do you distinguish between like debating, public speaking in terms of preparation? Do you enjoy both of those things where public speaking is more, if we just say, okay, that's more like a prepared thing, and then debating is more like on the spot? Do you have a particular, kind of preference?
I probably would say I do enjoy preparing some things before I begin to speak, just because I'm a firm believer that, if you're going to speak extensively about something, it's probably best that you know what you're talking about. But I think, yeah, I do like to prepare for public speaking. On the spot things can be enjoyable too, but it's definitely not my strength. I do like to prepare before I speak, but honestly, it is contingent upon what it is. If it's on the spot debating about something I feel that I'm interested in, then I will happily do it. But I do definitely like to prepare quite a bit for the more public speaking side of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. But I think the mood in the mock trials is all good. It was actually the same experience for me when you said that. I was doing a mood-in thing. They call it moot-in, as you've probably heard about at university. And we were about to start that session, and then COVID got in the way of that, so that was a shame. But yeah, that's something that I would encourage anyone to do. I actually left it a little bit late in the game when I was at uni, so I never actually got to fully do it. But I'd signed up because I was like, I don't want to go through this degree not having done mood-in at least once. And then I did it for a subject I really liked, which was constitutional law. And then it was like 3 days before we were going to do it or something. The COVID thing happened, and that was it. But I would encourage people to do that because it's good to get well versed and skilled at getting up there with content you are comfortable with, but then being able to adapt on the spot as well. So kind of the mood-in and the mock trials kind of has both elements of you know the content well, but you're going to be hit with sudden questions and you will have to improvise to some extent. But at least you have the base knowledge there. What about the podcast? So what's it called? The Modern Democracy?
Modern democracy, yeah.
Okay, the Modern Democracy. So what's the podcast about?
So I started it when I was in year 11, very start of year 11. And my whole aim was to kind of inspire and educate and empower young Australians in Australian politics. Because I've always been a very political person. It's something I'm really interested in. For anyone who knows me in real life, I'm always talking about politics. And I looked around at my world, and I noticed that a lot of people from where I'm from in regional Australia don't really know that much about what happens up on the hill in Canberra. I think national political discourse is often quite disconnected from, youth, young people everywhere. And I had a few friends who were like, do we have a president of Australia? And I was like, we do not. So I tried to I still do make these podcast episodes where I kind of take these really complex national policy issues and synthesize them down into kind of bite-sized episodes where people can listen and feel like they can contribute to political debate. Because there is no worse feeling than like being in a discussion where you don't really know what's going on. And particularly because the policies that are debated on in all levels of government are things that impact people, from our age group. It's really important that young people know about what happens. So I kind of have this platform where I, take these really complex political issues and then I make them accessible to people. And I try and explain them in a way that is very simple and easy to understand, because often sometimes these things can get a bit too complex and then people feel like they are not smart enough to engage in Australian politics. But yeah, that's basically the rationale behind it. Yeah.
No, that's very cool. I admire that. So I think that's a great thing you're doing. And the more that the kind of seemingly scattered and inaccessible political discourse can be broken down and simplified, the better, because then people can make more informed decisions, obviously. I was just thinking we had the state election recently, and, I'm lining up and I'm thinking, I haven't heard like any kind of simplified explanation of what each party represents and what they're doing. Like, maybe the debate's always happening, but often because there is so much argument, and I don't like the way that it is so adversarial, our system. Although obviously opposing views are good, but it's like never finding common agreement is not good, because there obviously is common agreement, but no one likes to concede on things. But in any case, I just found that I would be like, man, there must be a huge proportion of the population who would just vote in without any context, and that's probably going to swing the vote and decide it. So it's a really important area if you can actually make those ideas more accessible.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. That's my saying. It's just the feeling of, and it's been such a rewarding thing to do as well, because I've had so many people come up to me and say, I finally understand what's going on now. Like, I know who I'm going to vote for. And that makes me so happy, because I'm just like, it's so nice to see, get to watch people feel confident about what they know and feel like they can understand what happens around them. So yeah, I think you're so right. It's so, it's very high level, and it's hard to sometimes bring politics down to just what it is, a very, grassroots debate of ideas. And the more people understand that, the better.
So it's funny when you say, oh, people know who to vote for after listening to the podcast. So are you impartial on the podcast?
Yeah, I am impartial on the podcast. I mean, some episodes I do tend to give my opinion sometimes, because that's what a lot of people in my area do listen for sometimes, is my thoughts on things. But for a lot of it, I just try and take these complex ideas and make them as impartial as possible, and just show people the facts, different opinions on the facts, different ideas, and then leave them to make their own choice.